I am here to discuss what we have arranged for today regarding the Chicago Bears. There are new rumors circulating from New York indicating that Breece Hall may be available for a trade, possibly during draft night. The offseason activities are currently in full effect, with players returning to Howley Hall. The coaching staff has initiated the process with an opening address, establishing the atmosphere for this new regime as we prepare for the 2025 season. I will elaborate on that shortly. Reflecting on the past, our most viewed video in March of this year received 2,211 likes, centered around a trade involving a pivotal player. It's remarkable to witness a video achieving 2,000 likes, and I trust you all enjoyed it as well. The lingering question is, can we exceed that today? Aiming for 2,212 likes for this episode is ambitious, but if you feel inspired to surpass that record this month, let's strive for it. Now, let's take a closer look at Breece Hall. There have been discussions from New York, particularly from a prominent source, who hinted at the possibility of Breece Hall being traded, likely triggered by statements from their new head coach. The Bears could take advantage of this scenario, depending on how the draft proceeds. Let's analyze the conversations around this topic. The head coach mentioned, "I believe Hall is in a good mental space, but I would point out that we have 3 running backs on this team that we plan to use as much as we can." He was referring to a running back by committee strategy, suggesting that each player involved should feel content with the offensive plan we are implementing, and Hall is anticipated to be one of those players. He expanded on the committee idea, akin to what another team employs with a 1-2 punch involving standout athletes. A high-level player can undoubtedly add value to such an approach. We have also talked about another athlete alongside a key running back quite frequently. But with Breece Hall entering the last year of his rookie contract, it's possible the Jets are considering a reset with one of those running backs this season, potentially making him available for a trade. Comments from the head coach will likely spark trade discussions, as Hall is an extraordinary talent who would attract interest if he were on the trading block. It's feasible that the Jets might think about moving him if another exceptional player is accessible with the 7th overall pick in the draft. When I first encountered this, my initial thought was, oh great, just another situation to deal with on draft night. We are already concerned about another team at the 6th pick. Could the Jets also enter the fray at 7th for that standout player? Especially if their aim is to strengthen their backfield alongside their quarterback and focus on a potent running game? That would definitely be an interesting development to monitor. From the Bears' standpoint, could Breece Hall be a plausible target for Chicago, depending on what unfolds during the draft? I doubt this would happen before the draft. It seems more likely to become a day 2 trade scenario. If the Bears navigate the first round without acquiring a standout player, Hall's career has had some intriguing turns, experiencing an injury in his rookie season that limited him to 7 games. But he truly shined in his second season with nearly 1,000 rushing yards. However, last year was somewhat disappointing. A new player joined the rotation and performed well, while the offense struggled overall, particularly with a subpar offensive line that didn't excel in run blocking. I hadn't fully realized how productive Breece Hall has been as a receiving running back. He averaged over 11 yards per reception in his debut year, and in his second season, he recorded 76 receptions. Even last year, despite the offensive challenges, he managed 57 receptions, providing significant value as a receiving running back at nearly 6 feet and 217 pounds. Nevertheless, I genuinely believe last year did not meet expectations for Breece Hall, as he was often selected in the first or second rounds of fantasy football drafts due to the anticipation surrounding his potential. The truth is, he was being picked in the first or second rounds of fantasy football drafts because many believed he could total 2,000 yards, with 1,500 yards rushing and 500 receiving, which did not materialize. While he didn't have a negative season, in comparison to expectations, it was somewhat disappointing. Now, we have a new coach stating, we are going to use all 3 running backs. There are speculations about a possible trade, especially if they decide to select a new player to adjust the running back's contract length. They are also eyeing another athlete, so this is certainly a possibility worth noting. I believe that the skills of this running back would complement well with another back, as he is quite effective between the tackles and also possesses good receiving skills. So what do you think about this? Should they consider making a trade? Comment T for trade or P for pass. Next, let's analyze his contract situation, how a potential trade could work, how he might integrate into the offense, and we'll also discuss the offseason program that is kicking off. I'm excited to share that we have some updates. Spring has arrived, and are you already thinking about attending a game for your favorite team? How about grabbing a ticket? There are some attractive options at affordable prices, with some costing very little. You can actually believe that you could get a ticket to a high-level game for less than 50 reais. Count me in. And how about watching a game toward the end of the season? Check out the available options. It's an excellent place to find tickets for sports events, comedy shows, and much more. What really stands out are the last-minute promotional prices. Often, you can get tickets for lower prices on the day of the event, even just a few hours or minutes before the game. Regarding Breece Hall's contract situation, he is in the final year of his rookie contract. It's somewhat surprising how quickly these contracts evolve. It seems like his selection was recent, and now he's eligible for renewal if the team chooses to keep him or if another team expresses interest. My perception is that if he stays with the team, it's unlikely that a renewal would happen right now, and they'll probably play out this season, especially since they are discussing a committee approach. I recognize his talent and have already seen signs of his great potential, but I don't see sufficient reason for a renewal at this time. If any team wanted to trade for him, I'd advocate for playing out this season without rushing a renewal. However, would it be feasible to extend him for an amount below his actual value? It's likely that you could keep him for around 10, 11, or 12 million per year on a new 2- or 3-year deal. If he performs exceptionally well, his market value could rise to about 15 million, which is probably what you'd expect for a back in that position, especially with the running back market showing signs of recovery. There's no doubt about how he fits. He has an excellent ability to move between the tackles, surpasses other players in pass protection, catches the ball efficiently, and provides an impact level similar to other running backs, but with much more explosion. He is definitely a standout player in that regard, and looking ahead, I'm excited about the possibility of a combination. However, there are some questions about the situation. Considering his ability to avoid tackles, he stands out as a more efficient pass protector. He receives the ball properly and brings a certain physicality, but has a much greater explosion, which makes him superior in this regard. When thinking about the future, the idea of a pairing is intriguing, but the question remains, would this be a long-term strategy? Will there be a renewal? Or is the intention to trade him, playing only this season, since they don't want to part with a valuable pick, and after 1 year, he might not be on the team anymore? I'm in a dilemma, as last season was disappointing, so I'd hesitate to renew his contract. But at the same time, I'd like to trade him without the intention of extending. I have a proposal that I consider fair for all parties involved, especially if the team selects a specific player in the 7th spot. The team receiving Breece Hall and a 4th-round pick, while the other team would get a 3rd-round pick. If you consider the draft calculations, moving from one pick to another, this would be equivalent to trading a compensatory 3rd-round pick, which I believe is reasonable. Therefore, this seems fair for Breece Hall, who is a talented back, but is in the final year of his rookie contract. I believe this logic makes sense. I don't think the team could get a 2nd-round pick for him. I wouldn't trade a pick directly for him, but I'd prefer to get something in return. If they don't get the player they want in the 1st round, or decide to focus on another need, I'd consider this possibility. I don't mind this kind of move as a backup option. Again, the contract must be taken into account, as you can either renew it or risk a 1-year rental. However, in this situation, where no draft picks are lost, it's a trade of one pick for another, just dropping around and getting a good player for the future at a minimum. I would definitely be happy with that possibility. Now, changing the subject, let's talk about the present, as the players are back at the house. I made a full video about this, so it's interesting for you to check it out, but let's do a quick recap here. They are in phase 1 of the offseason, and the reason they're back is that teams with new coaching staff are granted an extra 2 weeks in their offseason timeline, giving them an advantage over others. During this initial phase, the main activities consist of team meetings, position-specific discussions, and individual engagements. Coaches and players are able to interact directly, which had been somewhat restricted. For example, Although there were chances for communication through messages, formal gatherings were not permitted until now. The strength and conditioning program is also included in this phase, facilitating organized training sessions. Players have the opportunity to use the training facilities for weightlifting, and there will be coordinated strength and conditioning exercises led by the coaching staff. Furthermore, physical rehabilitation services are accessible for players who dealt with injuries during the last season, allowing them to obtain focused treatment. This also applies to players who may need particular attention for ongoing issues from the previous year. It's natural to be curious about the relevance of this topic, especially considering that there are only 5 months left until the season starts. The main aspect to be evaluated, which we've discussed before, is the impact of first impressions. This starts with the players and extends to the head coach and his staff, who play a significant role in setting expectations and establishing the team's atmosphere. During the owners' meetings, it was highlighted that the opening speech will be crucial, with considerable time reserved for crafting the message to the players. First impressions carry significant weight. You only have one chance to make an impact. This will be the initial moment to address the entire group, and it will be important to observe how the players react to the message. Communication will be a two-way street, and an early introduction to the playbook will be made, although it won't be feasible to cover all the material at once. It's important to recognize that this is a unique opportunity. Until now, there hasn't been a dialogue with the entire audience, making this the first moment for such an interaction. The players are responding to this involvement, fostering dynamic dialogue. In the early stages of presenting the playbook, it's clear that revealing everything at once isn't feasible. Instead, the focus will be on foundational concepts and strategies to be adopted. This means considering tactical aspects of both the offense and defense as we begin building the foundation. For the offensive unit under the head coach and the defensive unit under the defensive coordinator, this fundamental work is essential. While organized practices will take place in later phases, such as during the offseason training, the interactions in the classrooms and the relationship building during these weeks are what truly matter. Reflecting on the anticipation for this new phase, it's interesting to assess the reactions on a scale from 1 to 10, where 1 symbolizes disinterest and 10 represents maximum excitement. While few are expected to opt for the first option, perhaps some rival team fans may do so, while many could rate it as a 10 if they're truly excited. Personally, I feel cautiously optimistic. As fans, it's common to get overly excited, but perhaps there's an opportunity for positive change on the horizon. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could become one of the boldest moves of the NFL offseason, the Chicago Bears are reportedly making a strong push to acquire superstar wide receiver Tyreek Hill from the Miami Dolphins. Known as the Cheetah for his game-breaking speed and explosive playmaking ability, Hill is coming off a season filled with highs and late-season frustrations, setting the perfect stage for a potential blockbuster trade. The Bears, eager to supercharge their offense, are eyeing Hill as a game-changer who could finally bring elite firepower to their passing game. Hill's 2023 campaign was electric, finishing with a league-leading 1,799 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. His ability to torch defenses remained unmatched, and he continued to add to his legacy with milestones like surpassing 10,000 career receiving yards and becoming the first player in the Super Bowl era to reach 1,000 yards by Week 8. However, despite his brilliance, Miami stumbled to an 8-9 finish and missed the playoffs, a first in Hill's career. His frustrations boiled over in dramatic fashion, prompting widespread speculation about his future. The Bears, with a rejuvenated front office and armed with cap space and draft capital, see this as a rare window to land a generational talent. Bringing Hill to Chicago would not only give the team an elite vertical threat, but could also signal a new era of offensive identity in the Windy City. For a franchise long plagued by offensive inconsistency, the prospect of pairing a young quarterback with Hill's speed and experience is tantalizing. League insiders suggest talks are heating up, though the Dolphins maintain that Hill has not formally requested a trade. Sources close to the situation indicate that Hill's relationship with Dolphins management has cooled since the season ended. His cryptic social media posts, most notably a profile picture alluding to Antonio Brown's infamous exit from the NFL, only fueled rumors of discontent. While Miami's GM Chris Greer publicly denied any formal trade request, Hill's "I'm out" remark after the season finale at the Jets left little doubt about his mindset. The Bears, sensing opportunity, are reportedly ready to pounce with an aggressive offer. If the deal materializes, it could redefine both franchises. For the Bears, acquiring Hill would send a statement that they're done rebuilding and ready to contend. For Hill, it would be a chance to reignite his dominance in a fresh setting, potentially becoming the most electrifying weapon Chicago has seen in decades. The NFL world watches and waits. Will the cheetah soon be sprinting through Soldier Field? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.